And with that, we'll welcome Mary Kay into the show from the Browns facility. How you doing today, Mary Kay?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
Good, Mary Kay. Hey, what's the injury update on some of these guys that have been banged up this week?
Well, first of all, I'm anxious to see what happens with David Njoku. He has not practiced again this week with that hamstring injury, and that could be dicey again if Dorian has to go out there and play without David Njoku, without Cedric Tillman. It really forces you to not be able to play that tall ball that you would want to play in the red zone and in the end zone, and I think that's why you've seen some of the interceptions that you've seen this season. So we'll have to see. They haven't practiced yet. That happens at 12:15, and so I'm not sure if anybody else is going to be back out there yet. But then also we're looking at Martin Emerson. He practiced yesterday on a limited basis, but hadn't been fully cleared from the concussion protocol yet. And then, of course, Myles Garrett was added to the injury report yesterday with a back injury. That was a little bit of a surprise, and he did not practice yesterday, and we'll have to see what his status is for today.
Every Bengal offensive lineman right now is, please, God, don't let Myles Garrett play.
Yeah, you're right.
Please don't let him play. He kills us.
Joe Burrow's saying the same thing.
Oh, yeah, darn right he is.
Mary Kay,
yes,
we were talking
absolutely.
earlier about the prospects next year at quarterback. I think the general consensus was, at least Jason and I agreed on this, that the quarterback of the Browns next year is not on the roster right now. Would you agree with that? And if that's true, knowing where they sit now in the draft and what the quarterback class looks like there and how thin the free agent class is this the major dilemma that it appears to be, at least to us right now?
Well, they must have some tricks up their sleeve in who they're going to bring in or who they think can come in here and be an upgrade at QB1. And that is the plan. And I've been writing that all along, even though people kind of went crazy over something I wrote last week that Deshaun's going to have a chance to come in and compete. I didn't say Deshaun was going to come in and be the starting quarterback. I said he would have a chance to compete. And that's opposed to saying, go home, Deshaun, we don't want to see you around here for this whole entire year. So, I do think that it will be someone else. I don't know if it will be a rookie that they bring in. I don't know if it will be someone that is on someone's roster right now that they're going to try to trade for, or if it will be a free agent. But I'm sure that they have a list running already. The problem is sometimes things don't work out the way that you hope or think they will. Sometimes a trade you think that you can make falls through. Sometimes a free agent you think you can sign somewhere else. So they better have a pretty comprehensive list. They better leave no stone unturned. They do need an upgrade.
Mary Kay, yesterday you were on The Fan and mentioned that Deshaun's not allowed back on the sideline yet. Is that a medical thing, that he's just not cleared to be on the sideline?
Yeah, and people kind of went a little crazy with that too. He's not been cleared to be on the sidelines because of his ruptured Achilles. And somehow something got misconstrued where people thought that I was saying that the Browns don't want him on their sidelines. And, people can just take any of your information and do whatever they want with it. And it does get to be a little bit frustrating after a while. But, yeah, he just hasn't been cleared to be on their sidelines yet. And so he's not going to be. I don't know if he will be at any of the rest of these final 3 games. Now, if he's allowed to be, I'm sure he's going to want to be, just like he came to a game last year. He was finally cleared and was allowed to come to a game after he had the shoulder surgery, but not on the field. He had to sit up in a suite, and people had a problem with that too. So it's kind of a no-win situation, but we know that with Deshaun. We know that it's a no-win situation with him no matter what.
Yeah, sidelines tend to be very dangerous places with 300-pound men running very fast, and you can't move out the way. It's happened sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, Nick wasn't allowed on the sidelines last year. I mean, it's just a team policy that they have. And maybe not every policy is as conservative as the Browns are about this, but that's just the policy that they have until the medical staff says that you're clear. And certainly coming off of a ruptured Achilles is probably not the time that you want your quarterback to be standing around on those sidelines.
I don't know, Mary Kay. I ruptured my Achilles. I was back in the studio in 8 days. I don't know what to say. I mean, listen.
They don't build them like Bull these days.
That's right. Not as tough.
Really quick, DTR, we talked about it. What does he have to do for him to be in the mix? We talked about Deshaun being in the mix to compete. We've seen Jameis Winston compete. What does he have to show in these next 3 games for the Browns to say, hey, we might have something in this guy to compete?
Well, I think one of the things that he's going to have to prove, too, just like Jameis was trying to prove and what wasn't ultimately able to do it, is that he can play clean football. Now, we know that in his career so far, Dorian has 1 touchdown against 7 interceptions, and that ratio is 0 to 3 this year. That's not going to fly. That's not going to keep you on the football field. So that's one thing that he's got to do. He's got to play smart football, aggressive football, but smart football, and try to make sure that the ball doesn't go to the other team. Now, the Bengals are the 27th ranked pass defense. They have 12 interceptions this season, so they're not, top of the list when it comes to a pass defense. This is a good opportunity for him to go out there and have a feel-good game about himself a little bit. If he can show that he's made the type of progress the Browns think he's made and that he believes he's made, then that will go a long way towards him being back next year and being part of the mix. Now, he believes that this is an audition for him for the starting job. And who's going to argue with anybody that's going to want to come in here and try to compete for the starting job? But truthfully, he's probably more in the part of the program mix than he is someone that they are thinking of as their surefire starting quarterback for next year.
Has anyone talked to him about protecting himself better? Guy gets hurt every time he gets on the field, and he plays so recklessly. I just think injuries may take him out before ability does.
Yes, they have talked to him about that. We talked to Ken Dorsey about that yesterday. And I think it's going to be tough. If David Njoku doesn't play and said Tillman doesn't play, I think that DTR might have the desire to take off running a lot. And that's when he's going to get himself into trouble, because he's going to look out there and they're going to try to double cover Jerry Jeudy and cover a lot of these guys up. And if he doesn't see anything, then he's going to want to take off running, and he's going to have to be careful. And that's not his strong suit. He loves to use those legs, and he loves to get out there and run. But as you mentioned, sometimes he doesn't do that under control. Sometimes he does it when he shouldn't, and he puts himself in harm's way, and that's just not going to work.
Mary Kay, we talked about the matchup of Denzel Ward and Jamar Chase, a matchup we'd love to see every play. But we also know the reality of it is Jim Schwartz doesn't design his defense that way, and Ward will get Chase when he lines up on his side of the field. Are you getting any indication at all that perhaps some of that may change for this game?
Well, I think part of it will depend on if Martin can play. I think that they could do some nice matchup things between Martin and Jamar. We'll have to see how they feel about it if Martin sits this one out with his concussion. If that were the case, then I think you'll see plenty of Denzel. But I just think Denzel is having a tremendous season. I've really never seen him play quite this well before. He's really locked in. I think he's definitely having a Pro Bowl campaign. It would be nice if he could get his hands on a few more footballs, but I really think that he'll probably give Jamar one of the best battles that he's had all season long.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. He has definitely played at a Pro Bowl level this year, which is good to see. Before we let you go, how do you see this one going?
Well, it's kind of tough. I mean, I think that Myles will play this game. You'd have to really, sit him. The medical staff would really have to force him to sit this one out. So I think despite the back injury, I think Myles will be out there. And they don't have starting left tackle Orlando Brown in this game. Cody Ford will slide over, play left tackle. Myles can ruin a game, and he loves to sack Joe Burrow. He has more sacks against him than anyone. And so if Myles can take over the game, then I think they have a decent chance. The defense played so well, I thought, against Kansas City. If they can have that kind of performance, the Browns have a chance. But offensively, they have got to generate some points. They've got to get something going. And that is the big X factor here. We just don't know what to expect yet from DTR.
Okay. Yeah, he loves to sack all quarterbacks.
Yep.
And he also wants that 100th sack, which he's a half sack away. He'd love to get that against Joe Burrow. Mary Kay, thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful Christmas. Happy holiday season to you, and we'll see you soon.
Same to you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Orlando Brown, by the way, he's